Most people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment, never realizing that the moment they were waiting for was quietly waiting for them. The greatest tragedy is not failure. It is waking up one day and discovering that your own habits have been making your decisions while you believed you were choosing your future. The chains that hold most people are invisible. They are forged from excuses repeated so often that they begin to sound like truth. They are built from comfort mistaken for peace, distraction mistaken for happiness, and movement mistaken for progress. The prison has no walls because it exists within the mind. There comes a moment in every life when you stop asking why your circumstances refuse to change and begin asking a far more dangerous question. Who have I become? That question has the power to destroy an old life and create a new one. It strips away every excuse. It leaves no place to hide. It forces you to stand before yourself without applause, without titles, without possessions, without the comforting opinions of other people. In that silence, your real life begins. Many people believe success is something that arrives from the outside. They believe someone will eventually recognize their talent. Open a door, give them permission, offer them a better opportunity. Yet history quietly whispers another lesson. Every remarkable life was built long before anyone noticed it. Every extraordinary achievement began as an invisible discipline practiced when nobody was watching. The world celebrates victories, but life rewards preparation. That is why two people can experience the same hardship while walking away with completely different destinies. One becomes bitter. The other becomes wiser. One loses hope. The other discovers strength that could never have been found in comfort. The difference is rarely found in the event itself. It is found in the mind that receives it. You cannot always command the wind, but you can always adjust your sail. This is one of the oldest lessons known to humanity. Mountains do not argue with storms. Rivers do not complain about rocks. Trees do not resist winter. Nature teaches through silence what many people never learn through words. Resistance to reality creates suffering. Acceptance creates clarity, and clarity creates intelligent action. There is tremendous power in accepting the truth exactly as it is, without decoration, without denial, without blame. Acceptance does not mean surrender. It means seeing clearly enough to know where your effort belongs. Many people waste decades fighting circumstances while neglecting the only territory they truly own, their own character. Character is built quietly. It grows in the invisible moments when nobody is keeping score. When you wake before your excuses. When you finish what you promised yourself you would finish. When you choose discipline over comfort, even though no reward appears immediately. These moments seem insignificant while they are happening, but they are quietly shaping the architecture of your future. Every repeated action is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. People often ask how confidence is built. They imagine confidence appears after success. But genuine confidence is born much earlier. It appears the first time you keep a promise to yourself, after breaking hundreds before. It grows every time your actions begin agreeing with your intentions. Confidence is not loud. It does not need to announce itself. It simply walks with the calm certainty of someone who has learned they can rely on themselves. The greatest relationship you will ever have is not with another person. It is with your own mind. If your mind obeys every emotion, every impulse, every craving, every fear, then your life will become a reflection of chaos. But if your mind learns patience, restraint, observation, and purpose, then your external world slowly begins to organize itself around that inner order. This is why self-discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. The undisciplined person believes they are free because they can do whatever they want. Yet, they often become servants to appetite, distraction, procrastination, and emotional reactions. They confuse impulse with freedom. The disciplined person appears restricted from the outside. They wake early, They practice consistency. They refuse unnecessary pleasures. They guard their attention carefully. Yet inside, they possess something priceless. They have become the master instead of the servant. Real freedom begins the moment your decisions become stronger than your moods. The modern world competes for one thing above everything else: your attention. Attention has become the currency of life. Whatever captures your attention eventually shapes your identity. If your attention belongs to fear, you become anxious. If your attention belongs to comparison, you become insecure. If your attention belongs to endless distraction, your potential slowly dissolves without making a sound. Guard your attention the way a wise gardener protects fertile soil. Nothing valuable grows in neglected ground. Every day you wake with invisible seeds in your hands. Thoughts become words. Words become actions. Actions become habits. Habits become character. Character quietly becomes destiny. There is no dramatic moment when destiny suddenly appears. It has been unfolding through thousands of ordinary decisions that nobody considered important. This is why small choices matter so much. A single morning may appear insignificant. One missed workout, one unnecessary excuse, one promise postponed, 1 hour wasted. Each one seems harmless because the consequence is invisible. Yet life compounds quietly. Just as interest accumulates in a financial account, your habits accumulate within your character. Years later, people call it luck. They never saw the invisible investments. Silence is another forgotten teacher. Many people fear silence because it introduces them to themselves. Noise provides escape. Constant entertainment keeps uncomfortable questions asleep. Endless conversation protects people from confronting the truth within. But silence has a remarkable quality. It reveals hidden fears. He desires. He resentments. He dreams. It removes every distraction until only reality remains. If you can sit quietly with yourself without needing immediate stimulation, you possess a strength that cannot easily be shaken by the world. The strongest people are rarely the loudest. A mountain does not announce its height. The ocean does not boast of its depth. The sun never argues about its brilliance. Power has no need to advertise itself. Those who constantly seek recognition often reveal an emptiness that applause can never fill. External validation is temporary. Internal alignment is enduring. When your values, thoughts, and actions move together in the same direction, you begin experiencing a peace that success alone can never provide. Many people chase achievement, hoping it will quiet the noise inside them. Instead, they discover that external success amplifies internal confusion if the foundation has never been built. That is why the first victory is always invisible. Before you conquer the marketplace, conquer procrastination. Before you lead others, learn to lead yourself. Before you seek influence, develop integrity. Before you pursue greatness, become trustworthy in the ordinary moments that nobody applauds. Life never asks whether you deserve more. Life quietly asks whether you have become capable of carrying more. Capacity is not measured by ambition. It is measured by stability. Can you remain calm during uncertainty? Can you continue working without immediate results? Can you stay humble while succeeding? Can you remain kind while being misunderstood? Can you continue improving after failure instead of allowing disappointment to become your identity? These questions determine far more than talent ever will. Talent opens a door. Character decides whether you remain inside. The greatest transformations are rarely dramatic. They happen like sunrise, slowly, quickly, almost unnoticed. Then one day, you realize that the person who once searched desperately for motivation has become someone guided by principle instead of emotion, because they no longer negotiate with every passing feeling. They understand that emotions are weather, while principles are the landscape. The weather changes every hour. The landscape remains. Think about how often your life has been directed by temporary emotions. A moment of fear convinced you not to begin. A moment of doubt persuaded you to stop. A moment of comfort whispered that tomorrow would be a better day. But tomorrow has a strange habit of becoming another tomorrow, until years disappear into the distance, and the person you once hoped to become remains only an unfinished conversation with yourself. There is a quiet danger in believing that one day you will suddenly become disciplined. Discipline is not an event. It is not a feeling that arrives with inspiration. It is a decision repeated so consistently that it becomes part of your identity. The person who changes their life is rarely the person who waits to feel ready. They become the person who acts while uncertainty is still present. Readiness is often born after the first step, not before it. Look closely at the strongest people you know. You may admire their confidence, but confidence is only the visible surface. Beneath it lies an ocean of ordinary days. Days when they wanted to quit, but continued. Days when nobody believed in them except themselves. Days when progress was too small to notice. Days when every effort seemed to disappear into silence. Those days were not wasted. Those days were becoming them. A bamboo seed spends years beneath the ground before anyone sees evidence of growth. During that invisible season, roots are expanding in every direction. To the impatient observer, nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, the foundation is becoming capable of supporting extraordinary height. Human transformation follows the same law. People become discouraged because they expect visible results before invisible foundations have been completed. They judge themselves too quickly. They mistake slow progress for failure. Yet, nature has never been in a hurry. The river reaches the sea not because it rushes recklessly, but because it refuses to stop flowing. Imagine what would happen if your commitment became stronger than your impatience. Imagine waking each day with no obsession over immediate results. Imagine trusting that every disciplined action is shaping someone you cannot yet fully see. This is how masters are formed, not through dramatic breakthroughs, through ordinary faithfulness. One page read today, one conversation handled with patience, one temptation resisted, one promise honored, 1 hour spent improving instead of complaining. Life changes through accumulation. The world celebrates intensity, but life responds to consistency. A fire that burns too fiercely often burns out quickly. A steady flame survives the night. There will always be moments when you question yourself. The mind has an extraordinary ability to create convincing stories. It will tell you that you are behind. It will compare your beginning to someone else's middle. It will remind you of every previous mistake while remaining strangely silent about every lesson you have learned. Do not believe every thought that enters your mind. The mind is an excellent servant, but a poor master. Observe your thoughts without immediately obeying them. Notice how many fears exist only as predictions. Notice how many worries have never actually happened. Notice how often your imagination creates prisons that reality never builds. Awareness creates distance. And in that distance, wisdom appears. When you no longer identify with every thought, you become capable of choosing which thoughts deserve your energy. That choice changes everything. Attention is like sunlight. Whatever you continually illuminate begins to grow. If you feed resentment, resentment strengthens. If you feed gratitude, gratitude expands. If you feed discipline, discipline becomes natural. If you feed excuses, excuses become your language. Every day your attention is voting. The question is not whether you are creating your future. You are. The question is, what future your daily attention is creating. There is a profound difference between being busy and being purposeful. Many people fill every hour of the day, yet feel strangely empty. Movement is not the same as direction. You can run faster while traveling toward the wrong destination. You can become incredibly efficient at repeating habits that slowly destroy your peace. Wisdom asks a different question. Not how much am I doing, but who am I becoming through what I am doing? This question transforms work into practice. Every challenge becomes training. Every inconvenience becomes an opportunity to strengthen patience. Every criticism becomes an invitation to examine the ego. Every delay becomes an exercise in trust. The world has a remarkable way of revealing the parts of yourself that still need refinement. The impatient person believes traffic is the problem. The wise person realizes impatience was already living within them. The angry person believes another person's words created their rage. The wise person understands those words merely uncovered what had not yet been mastered. Life does not create your character. It reveals it. That revelation is a gift, even when it is uncomfortable, because what remains hidden cannot be transformed. Many people spend years trying to change their circumstances while refusing to change the habits of thought that recreate those same circumstances. A seed cannot produce different fruit by wishing. It must become something different at its core. Transformation is not cosmetic. It is structural. It reaches beneath behavior into belief. Beneath every repeated action lives a repeated belief. If you continually delay your dreams, perhaps somewhere within you exists the belief that your future is less valuable than your comfort. If you constantly seek approval, perhaps there remains a belief that your worth depends upon another person's acceptance. If you fear beginning, perhaps you have confused perfection with progress. These beliefs are rarely spoken aloud. They whisper beneath the surface, and because they remain unquestioned, they quietly organize your life. Become curious about your inner world, not judgmental. Curious. Ask yourself why certain patterns repeat. Ask why the same fears appear wearing different disguises. Ask what you continue protecting that no longer deserves protection. Self-inquiry is not self-criticism. It is self-respect. Only someone who values growth is willing to examine themselves honestly. There is immense courage in admitting that the obstacle has never been entirely outside you. The ego resists this realization because it prefers blame. Blame is comfortable. Responsibility is liberating. The moment responsibility enters your life, possibility enters with it. As long as someone else controls your happiness, your peace remains fragile. As long as circumstances determine your attitude, your strength belongs to chance. But when you understand that your response is always yours to cultivate, an extraordinary freedom begins to emerge. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop demanding easier roads. Instead, you become a stronger traveler. There is wisdom in carrying less. Not only fewer possessions, but fewer unnecessary thoughts. How much energy is lost replaying conversations that ended long ago? How much life disappears, worrying about opinions that change with the wind? How many dreams remain untouched because the mind is occupied by imaginary battles? The greatest warriors are not those who fight every conflict. They know which battles deserve silence. Silence is often misunderstood. People imagine silence means weakness. Yet silence requires tremendous strength. Anyone can react. Anyone can argue. Anyone can defend their pride. Few can remain composed while the storm invites them to abandon themselves. The deepest strength is calmness under pressure. Not because nothing disturbs you, but because you have trained yourself not to surrender your inner balance to every external event. A lake reflects the sky only when its surface becomes still. The same is true of the mind. When constantly agitated, it cannot perceive truth clearly. When settled, even briefly, solutions begin appearing that force could never produce. Do not underestimate the value of stillness. Some of your greatest decisions should never be made in emotional turbulence. Allow the dust to settle. Allow the noise to fade. Allow wisdom to speak in its own quiet voice. It has always been speaking. Most people have simply been too distracted to hear it. The journey inward is unlike any other journey. There are no crowds cheering, no trophies waiting, no audience applauding your invisible victories. Yet these are the victories that reshape an entire life. Every time you choose integrity, when deception seems easier, something inside you grows stronger. Every time you refuse to betray your values for temporary gain, your spirit becomes more stable. Every time you continue, despite disappointment, you are teaching yourself a lesson no classroom can offer. You are proving that your purpose is greater than your emotions. And once a person truly learns that lesson, they begin to walk through the world differently. Not with arrogance, not with hardness, but with a quiet certainty that cannot be borrowed from success or stolen by failure. Because they have discovered that the strongest foundation is not built upon what happens around them, but upon what they repeatedly choose within themselves. And that choice is available every single day. It does not arrive wrapped in extraordinary circumstances. It arrives disguised as ordinary moments. The moment you decide whether to rise when the alarm sounds. The moment you decide whether to keep your word when no one will know if you break it. The moment you choose patience instead of anger, learning instead of pride, action instead of hesitation. These moments seem too small to matter, yet your life is built from them. The future is not created in one dramatic decision. It is carved by thousands of quiet decisions that no one applauds. Every disciplined action places another stone beneath your feet. Eventually, what once felt impossible becomes your normal way of living. There is a strange illusion that tells people they need more time. But time has never been the greatest obstacle. The greatest obstacle is unconscious living. Days become weeks. Weeks become years. A person continues repeating the same thoughts, the same habits, the same fears, expecting a different future simply because the calendar has changed. But a new year does not create a new life. A new mind does. A disciplined heart does. A conscious decision does. Do not fear how far you have to travel. Fear only standing still while convincing yourself that you are waiting for the right moment. The right moment has always been hidden inside the present one. Right now, your past has already completed its work. It has taught its lessons. It has left its marks. It has shaped you in ways both painful and beautiful. There is no wisdom in carrying it as a chain. Carry it as a teacher. The strongest people are not those who have avoided suffering. They are those who refuse to allow suffering to become their identity. Every disappointment refined them. Every setback humbled them. Every failure revealed another place where strength could be cultivated. They stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" They began asking, "What is this preparing me for?" That single shift transforms hardship into training. The mountain remains the same. The climber changes. And as the climber changes, the mountain no longer appears impossible. Never underestimate the quiet power of beginning again. You may have broken promises to yourself. You may have abandoned dreams that once filled your heart with fire. You may have wandered through years of distraction, doubt, or regret. But the remarkable truth about life is that awareness itself is the beginning of renewal. The moment you see clearly, you are no longer asleep. The moment you accept responsibility, you reclaim your strength. The moment you take one honest step forward, the direction of your life begins to change. Do not wait until you believe you are fearless. Courage has never required the absence of fear. It requires movement despite it. Walk even when the road is uncertain. Work even when recognition is absent. Stay faithful even when progress is invisible. There are seasons when nothing seems to bloom. Do not mistake those seasons for emptiness. Roots are growing. Patience is deepening. Character is taking shape beneath the surface. The greatest rewards in life belong to those who continue when continuing no longer feels exciting. Anyone can begin. Few remain. Yet those who remain discover something extraordinary. Discipline slowly stops feeling like sacrifice. It becomes peace, because every promise you keep to yourself strengthens trust. Every difficult choice builds freedom. Every act of self-control weakens the grip of your old limitations. One day you realize you are no longer fighting the same battles, not because the world became easier, because you became wiser, calmer, more rooted, more present. You no longer seek constant approval because you have learned to respect yourself. You no longer chase every distraction because you have discovered the value of your attention. You no longer fear silence because silence has become the place where your deepest strength is renewed. And then something beautiful happens. Your transformation quietly begins transforming others, not through speeches, not through arguments, but through your example. People notice your calm when others panic. They notice your patience when others rush. They notice your integrity when compromise seems easier. They notice the quiet confidence that comes from a person whose actions and values have become one. This is influence in its purest form, a life that reminds others what is possible. Remember that the world does not need more people pretending to be strong. It needs more people willing to become strong from within. Strength that does not depend on applause. Peace that does not depend on comfort. Purpose that does not depend on perfect circumstances. The greatest victory you will ever achieve is not over another person. It is over the version of yourself that settles for less than what you know you are capable of becoming. Meet that version with compassion, then leave it behind. Do not carry yesterday's limitations into tomorrow's possibilities. Stand up, protect your attention, guard your character, honor your word, welcome discomfort as a teacher. Let silence become your companion. Lamed, discipline to become an expression of self-respect rather than self-punishment. Choose the path that asks more of you because it will reveal more within you. Years from now, people may look at your life and call it success. They may admire the results they can see, but you will know the truth. You will remember the mornings when no one believed in you, the evenings when you kept going despite exhaustion, the quiet decisions that no one celebrated, the countless moments when you chose principle over impulse. That is where your new life was born, not in a single breakthrough, but in thousands of invisible victories. So, when this moment ends and the noise of the world returns, do not search for another speech to awaken you. Become the voice that awakens yourself. Let every sunrise remind you that another opportunity has been placed in your hands. Let every challenge remind you that your character is still being shaped. Let every step remind you that no distance is too great when you refuse to stop walking. Master your mind before you seek to master your circumstances. Masters your habits before you seek extraordinary results. Master yourself, and you will discover that the life you have been searching for was never waiting somewhere beyond the horizon. It was waiting within the person you had the courage, the patience, and the discipline to become.